right. New sleeping bag. Robert's Outdoor Equipment. It just arrived a while ago, and I am super happy to have my new sleeping bag because it is amazing, and it's definitely something to check out because it is made by by a very small company in Poland, and they basically make those sleeping bags by hand, obviously, hand stitched, but also according to your requirements. So this one here is their ultimate expedition series, basically, which is actually, you can't really see it on the website because the outer sleeping bag here is synthetic. The inner one is the Everest model. If you check out the website, you're gonna see the Everest is one of two of the expedition, like, you know, winter mountaineering expedition sleeping bags. This one is the 1300 version, which means it is basically maxed out in terms of like what you can get out of a winter sleeping bag. The minus 47 Celsius is the comfort temperature, and then you go accordingly. The down filling in this one is 95.5 with 800 Qin on filling, and the down is really sustainable Polish duck down. In terms of what material it is, I'm gonna show you that below because I barely remember those kind of things. In terms of how it is constructed, it's obviously mommy's sleeping bag, but it's, you know, has a nice comfort in it, down synthetic on the outside. Meaning, this one here is the outside, both of them half zips. The way I did it is left side half zip, and on the down one it's the opposite, obviously. And then you have the Everest has the normal zipper on the side. Obviously you have the color here, the cold color, and then on the inside you have a little pocket where you can put stuff in. For my taste, they could be bigger. I prefer having a little bit bigger sizes, but yeah, well, each company has a little bit of a different style. You know, the Helsport one that I had zippers, both on that one, on the outer one, and on the other one. Here, it's only on the inside, and it's a fairly small pocket. If you want a bigger one, just tell them, and they're gonna manufacture it. Our communication on that matter was a little bit too little, I guess. In terms of inner, you can see there's a mesh material here. The synthetic is fairly thick. You can have it, like, you know, it's a standard version. The reason, by the way, why down and synthetic, the synthetic protects the down from getting wet and getting ripe on it and stuff like that. When you have an expedition sleeping bag, you usually want to use a vapor barrier on the inside anyway. If you don't, there's a few little tricks that you can do in terms of prevent this thing from getting too moist. So the first one is, which is kind of neat, it's their way of doing it. You have those, as you may have seen, you have those fleece protectors here. They just Velcro on. And what they do is, if it's all zipped up, you basically, like if you know, breathe out and whatnot, you always have like moisture building up, and so on the sleeping bag. So the moisture is going to build up on those flaps, and then you can just rip that off, you know, shake it out and get rid of the ripe fairly well. And you can dry it very easily because it's also black. Little side note, the reason why this one is blue on the outside is because that material was only available in blue. I could have gotten a black one with a different material, but they basically advised me to take this fabric because it is less noisy, light, a little bit heavier than the lightweight version, but it is a little bit more durable, and that shows. And I'm very happy with choosing this one, because the more noisy it is, I mean, the inner one has a little bit more noise. It's like, you know, standard kind of fabric in terms of the ripstop material that they use. But the outer one, if that would be also like really noisy and whatever, that would be just a pain in the ass. That's why it's actually good to have it like that. The way they usually construct those is actually that you have the zipper on, also half zipper, because that gives a little bit better warmth. Is that you have a system that you just have, like if you have it on the right side, the outer one is zipped in with the inner one. Which means like that you can just zip it open and get out fairly easy out of your sleeping bag. The reason why I didn't choose it is because, yes, it is more complicated to get in and out, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but due to the fact that my old sleeping bag, the Helsport that I have, has the system the way this one is now, just with a lower warmth level, is that I'm used to it, and that's perfectly fine. And also you don't create the same cold pockets that if you would have it just on one side, if you know what I mean. Because where the zipper is, you always have a cold spot there. That's just the way sleeping bags are constructed. You always have a little bit of a flap over it, but it's still not the same. It doesn't give you the same warmth. So if you have a sleeping bag on the outside that has the zipper on the other side, you're basically trying to prevent the cold from zipping in a better scale. There is a little trick in terms of getting rid of moisture if you have moisture building up, because the moisture will always be on the outer one if you don't wear a vapor barrier. So the moisture will be here. So the way to actually get a little bit rid of it is like if you're in the morning, you make your coffee or whatever you do, you get out of your outer one, out of your inner one sleeping bag, and then you slip in between the two. And just, you know, have your coffee and whatever. You zip it up a little bit, and then your own body heat starts to warm this part up here, you know, the upper one, where you have the moisture build up. So it's gonna be a little bit wet here, and then you can just wipe it off. So you get rid of a little bit of the moisture every day. Obviously, if you have sunny days like this now, you can just put it on a sleeping bag, you know, on the, you know, top of the tent or whatever, and then try to dry it a little bit. Yeah. Super happy, super stoked to have a new one, because my old one is about to go. This one is really awesome. I'm looking very much forward to it. Like I said, it is very much well thought out, you know, in terms of like how it is designed and whatnot, you know. So I'm really happy with it so far. Last little thing, what you get with it on top of it is you get 2 bags. One that is for the down, and this one is for the synthetic. But as you have seen, the whole combination fits into the down one. You get like a storage bag. It's fairly thin, so that's really nice, breathable and all, you know. So this one, in terms of like stuffing the bag in here and whatever, works quite well. But as you can see, it's not a compression bag, which is the downside. You know, sometimes it's good to have a compression bag, sometimes it's not. Depends a little bit on what you're doing and where you put it in and whatnot. They are very much into the mountaineering part, so it's actually quite okay to have this, because having it super compressed in a backpack is sometimes not really the best way to do it, because it's just a brick basically. On a sled sometimes, you know, when they're a little bit too long, you can't really put them anywhere. So it depends a little bit on how you look at it. But a big downside, as you have seen, I struggled a little bit with it, because the cord is actually like the clip here is not strong enough to hold it. So it actually opens up, as you can see here. That is a pain in the ass. So you have to put a little thingy in it. I will send them an email and say like, hey, you might need to change that in the long run. Otherwise, so far so good. I'm super happy. I'm going out next week on a tour, so after that it's gonna be proper tested. Have a good one, guys, and check them out. It's good stuff. Oh, my knee.